I am Fiona Alexander Smith, Director of Information and Communication. On Friday, April 17, the government announced an extension of the shutdown until 12 a.m. on Monday, May 1st, as part of efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19 on the island. To explain the extension and the arrangements in place to ensure persons are able to purchase items, I will be speaking with Premier Honorable Joseph E. Farrell to get further details. Premier, you're on the line. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Fiona. Good afternoon, listeners.
Yeah, so Premier, government announced the extension yesterday that the island will continue under the shutdown arrangements until May 1st, and provisions are being provided for persons to be able to shop from Monday to Wednesday this week coming. First of all, explain the rationale for the decision by Cabinet to extend the shutdown.
Thank you very much, Fiona. This pandemic that we're in cannot be managed by emotion. It is based on the science. And as a responsible government, we have to listen to the technicians and make decisions accordingly. Hence, our principal advisor in this case is the Ministry of Health, be it the CMO or the epidemiologists. We have to listen to them. And in this case, they are our principal advisors. And so, having assessed the last shutdown, the one we're in now, the advice we received is that in order to continue to reduce the transmission of COVID-19 and to increase the effectiveness of tracing and to provide the Ministry of Health, our stakeholder, time to develop testing capacity in the island, it is absolutely important that we continue this shutdown. And this is the recommendation that we received based on what I've mentioned, based on the ability of the Ministry of Health to deal with increased cases. They are of the view that we should continue the shutdown to give them this chance to manage and to monitor. We recognize that we have a number of cases and we don't want an increase. So in order for us to maintain the level and reduce the number of cases, it is absolutely critical that we keep people apart. And so the rationale is that the closing down will allow the health staff to manage the system as it is, to reduce transmission, and so that we can come out of this thing, effectively. We don't want to increase the number of cases. And you understand that community tracing, we have to trace each patient, each person who is positively tested. The Ministry of Health has to trace back to persons who they came into contact with. So by doing this, we are reducing the incidences of coming together and reducing the number of persons who may come into contact with individual or positive or carriers of the virus.
Okay. Now, what provisions have been made for persons to shop Monday, April 20th to Wednesday, April 22nd? And also explain to the public how will that be conducted during those times? Okay.
Cabinet is conscious that having locked down or closed down the country for 7 days, persons would need to replenish their either finances or their stock of food or medication or fuel, whatever it is. And so we are conscious that the present lockdown is coming to an end at midnight on Sunday. And we didn't just want to continue you into another 7 day, have people going to that a 14-day lockdown without some breather. And so what we decided was to give a three-day window, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, to give people the opportunity to, as I said, to replenish their stocks. And so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, some institutions or businesses will be open to do just that. The banks will be open, supermarkets will be open, petrol station for a while, money transfer. These are some of the services that will be open so that people can go in and get their monies and do their shopping and return home. What we have done, and the pattern we have developed with the assistance of the statistical department, is to reduce the number, because you recall that just before we went into the shutdown, we tried to accommodate persons into 4 groups based on alphabetical their surname, and we ended. So what happened is that we noticed that the numbers were too big, and so it was difficult to deploy social distancing. So what we did was to ask stats to work out something for us, where they take the same number of persons, split them into smaller groupings, so that businesses can at least adhere to social distancing, and persons will be able to shop without touching each other and being close to each other. And so, yes, that is what it is. So we have divided into of the 3 days, we have 6 sessions or 6 groupings for that day, for that period. 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, and 2 on Wednesday. And here's what we're going to do. On the first day, which is Monday, between 8 a.m. and 12 noon, we have the senior citizens. We're asking them to come in, go to the bank, do their shopping, and get back home. Also in that grouping is essential service providers. So if you're working with an essential service, you're also asked to come in from 8 to 12 on Monday morning and do your business and get back out. And we also consider maybe persons who are vulnerable, like pregnant ladies, pregnant women, and so, who might not be able to take the rush. So we have also included them in that first group where they can come in. So we have the first group from 8 to 12. We have senior citizens, we have essential service providers, and we have vulnerable persons like pregnancy and that kind of thing to come in. So that's the first day. That's the first session on Monday. On the second session on Monday, we have another group of persons coming in. Monday afternoon, the 20th, we have persons from, and we're starting this time we're starting reverse in terms of alphabetical order, because we recognize that the last time persons who came in at the end, they complained that when they reached the shop, they was not going to shelf. So this time around, apart from the first group, we are now starting from Z and upwards. So on Monday afternoon, from 1:30 to 4 p.m., we have names, surnames, beginning with S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Again, Monday afternoon from 1 to 4, surnames beginning with S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So that's the second group, and that's the Monday afternoon. On Tuesday morning from 8 to 12, Tuesday from 8 to 12, the first group is letters, surnames beginning with M, N, O, P, Q, and R. M, N, O, P, Q, and R. That's Tuesday morning from 8 to 12. And Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 4, we have G, H, I, J, K, and L. Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 4, G, H, I, J, K, and L. So that's Tuesday. On Wednesday morning from 8 to 4, we have C, D, E, and F. Tuesday morning, 8 to 12, C, D, E, and F. And Wednesday afternoon, from 1 to 4, you have A and B. Wednesday afternoon, from 1 to 4, we have A and B. These are the arrangements, and persons in these groupings, please, we will recap these groupings. We'll be publicizing them, and we're asking you to stick to your group, go to the bank, go to the supermarket, go to the gas station, because you're only out one period for that time, once. So when you leave your house that morning or that afternoon, you are only allowed to come out that one time, and you cannot come back out. So make sure within that period, that window, you complete all your activities, because you're not going to be allowed to come back out. Another thing, though, you're also asked to walk with your ID. And this is exactly how strict we are going to be. You must walk with some form of ID. Your driver's license, your passport, if needs to be. I prefer not to, but if you have to, some form of ID, because the security people are going to ask you to provide your ID so that you will not get into an establishment if you're outside of your group. With the exception of group 1, the rest of us must walk with our ID to get in. And that is it. That's the arrangement that we have in place for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, from 8 to 12, from 1 to 4, 3 days. But the first period, the seniors, essential service providers, and pregnant women.
Okay, Premier, just to be clear, and so that persons are getting this message very clearly, individuals that are leaving on whatever date is based on their alphabetical grouping, you're leaving that one time to go to the bank, go make your shopping, and any other activity that you need to do within the scope of what is provided for. So banking, money transfer, shopping, petrol station, you're doing all of that within that one period.
Exactly. So you're leaving your house one time to do everything and return home.
Okay. Now, I note that the shopping schedule this time around, it makes provisions for senior citizens, pregnant women, and essential service providers. These individuals will no doubt still fall into the alphabetical grouping in terms of their last name. Please clarify how that will work. Is it that these individuals would have 2 opportunities to shop, or is it that once they fall into the pregnant women category and they decide to shop as a pregnant woman at that day and time, they're not allowed to then say, okay, well, on Wednesday, my name is, let me see what Wednesday would have. On Wednesday or on Tuesday, my name is ending with an R. My last name ends with an R, and so I can come back out again. Is that allowed?
That's not allowed. And that is why we specifically make that period. It doesn't matter what your surname is on Monday morning. Once you fall in this category of senior citizens, essential workers, and pregnant women, it matters not what your surname begins with. You can come out and shop because that is the only time that you can come out.
Okay. Now, I note as well that the morning shopping period is a bit longer than the afternoon shopping time by 1 hour. Was there a specific reason for this?
Not really. Just a matter of convenience. Because we have to allow, I'm not sure. No, there was nothing specific about that.
Okay. In terms of the banking hours, do you have the operational hours there with you, Premier, for the banks?
I don't have it. We are suggesting, because the banks are regulated by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, the hours of opening, but we are suggesting and hoping that the banks can open from, say, 8 to 2. That's not for me to declare, to say, but I would suggest and I would advise, I would recommend, and I will speak to the banks that they seek to accommodate both groups of persons, because I know the following question is, if you don't open beyond 12, then those coming out in the afternoon will not be able to go to bank. Mm-hmm. And that's the follow-up question. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that I will speak to the banks, and I'm sure that they will accommodate those group of persons. Maybe not for the full 4 hours in the afternoon, but they will in fact accommodate those persons. So it means then that if you're out the afternoon and the banks are open from 1 until 4, then your first order of business is to get to the bank if you have to get to the bank, and then do other business afterwards.
Right. Now, you mentioned some specific businesses, the supermarkets, banks, money transfer services, bakeries, and petrol stations. Those are the businesses that were mentioned. Can any other business operate during the time allotted between Monday and Wednesday?
Absolutely none. The only businesses that we are going to accommodate on those specific times, as you pointed out, it's bakery, gas station, money transfer businesses, groceries. These are the businesses that will be opened for that period. No other businesses.
And in addition, public transport is also not permitted during those times as well, right? Just want to verify, public transport will not be permitted during that time.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, would support or assistance be provided to individuals and families who require food supplies and other essential items, bearing in mind that some persons would have received ahead of the first shutdown? Now that we're going into a second one, would those same families and individuals be able to obtain food packages and assistance ahead of this new extended one?
Okay, you will realize that we started the food package distribution last week. And so a number of persons would have received significant amount of food stuff to take them through, not just this first one, but maybe the second one. Of course, there might be new persons, and I know as I speak to you that the food bank is at work. And so there are persons who may not have received any assistance during last weekend and will be calling in. And so the food bank is preparing food packages to distribute to those persons who call and request assistance, so that when they go into shutdown, they will at least have something to take them through. So the answer again is yes, the food bank is open, and it's not necessarily the same people who received last week, but new persons who may who have not received and may now need assistance, they can then call in and get the assistance. And these packages are delivered. Mark you, we have the Royal Defense Force and the social services are the helpers, and the Mounted Red Cross, they're all working together. So these packages will be delivered. So what I ask persons to do is to call the numbers, they'll ask you some questions, they'll take your contact, and they will deliver the package to you. It may not come the same day, but you will get it sometime during the week.
Okay, thank you for that information there, Premier. Now, in terms of salaries, public officers, when will they be expected to receive their salaries for the month of April?
I find it a little difficult to answer that because when I say yes, then people are going to ask, well, what happened to us who have been out of employment for some time? But clearly, government is committed to pay public servants. I think I am told that they might be receiving monies before the shutdown. I don't want to be specific. They should be able to get monies before the shutdown. And that is as much as I can say on that right now.
Okay, now, what happens after April 22nd? What measures will be in place until the 12 a.m. on May 1st? So what happens after the shopping period is closed? What happens then until May 1st at 12 a.m.?
What actually happened is exactly what we were doing last week. This present order is simply an amendment order to make provision for this 3-day window. That's the only thing that has changed from what we were doing last week. We have just amended this order number 25, I think, yes, to facilitate this shopping period window. So next week, from Thursday morning, things are back as it was as it is today or yesterday. No transport on the road, only essential services, no business opened, not even gas stations open. They are not open during that period. Whatever was in place, or is in place now, will be in place from Thursday morning until we come to the 30th of April.
Now, Premier, persons operating in the agricultural sector who previously had contracts to supply restaurants and other small businesses with food have been affected. And in terms of their supplies that they are producing at this point, has the government given any consideration to purchasing food items directly from those farmers as a means of assisting the vegetable and livestock farmers, and of course the Meals on Wheels program? Is there any sort of collaborative approach being taken there?
We understand the plight of the farmers, and I've asked, and the ministry at this moment is trying to collate the information. Definitely, government will have to come up with a process of taking some of those produce, and this is one way of providing the farmers with some money so they can at least see their way through. So they won't be just asking for a handout, but they'll be selling their produce. And just this morning, I had a meeting with my colleagues, discussing the very issue about us being able to take some of the produce from farmers and distribute as part of our food package. So yes, by tomorrow afternoon, I'll have a clearer picture as to exactly what we will do on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I asked the Minister of Agriculture will be working along with us so we can determine exactly how much produce is out there and exactly how we're going to disperse it. But yes, in short, we are planning to purchase some produce from farmers.
Premier, you previously announced as well that the UK government has committed to £2.5 million to be used or to be provided to the government of Montserrat to aid in the response to COVID-19 here. Can you, at this point, provide an update on those funds in terms of how those monies will be spent?
Thank you, Fiona. That is a question that I've been floating around, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to at least speak to it. It must be understood that these monies are ring-fenced solely for COVID response. And I would like my colleague parliamentarians to be open and honest with the public. We know that at this point, we have to claim those monies from the UK. It's not that when they give you a letter and say that they are going to give you £2.5 million, that they send a check attached to the letter. That's not how it works. We have to now present a claim from the UK for that monies. None of that monies is on Ireland at this time. Absolutely none. But what we have done is that we have gone around and see what monies we can find within our own coffers and begin to purchase food. So the food that is being purchased is not being purchased by that £2.5 million because it has not yet reached the Treasury. I think the claim was made a few days ago, late last week, and you understand that you have to be transferred to one bank and then to the other bank. So the monies are not here. Okay, even when the monies are reached here, let me make it abundantly clear. The monies are not just to hand out. There are a number of components for which this money is earmarked. First of all, we have to prepare isolation units because we do not know that we are not going to have additional cases, and we must have a place to put them where they can be treated properly. So we have to retrofit. At the moment, we are talking about retrofitting the Magaston Memorial Home at hospital. We are talking about purchasing beds and other things. We are talking about looking at machines and other things. So there, in addition to some relief, economic relief for our people, which I very well want to get out as soon as possible. In addition to that, there are other measures, other things that we have to do with that money. And so the notion that that money is able to give to people and to buy food, it is wrong. And we must let our people understand, as politicians, we must be serious and responsible in educating our people because we know how it works. This money, yes, some of the money will be used to assist businesses, unemployed persons, as we said, people in tourism sector, persons who are unemployed. Yes, a portion of that money will be used for that. But all of the monies at this point in time cannot be used just to give away. It's not a giveaway thing. It is to help persons to take them over the crisis period until such time we return to some level of normality in the economy. And so, yes, Fiona, I just want to make it abundantly clear and to clear the air, and so that our listeners do not take up what is going on, that the monies are there to be given away, and hence government is holding on to it. We have to, and as a matter of fact, in addition to what I've said, David has also placed some restrictions. We have to put measures in place to account, to show how the money was spent, and to account for it. And my colleagues in the Parliament know very well how rigid DFID is in terms of accountability for funds. And this is exactly what has to be taken. So right now, the Ministry of Finance team is working on those control mechanisms while we put in place the logistical framework to distribute those funds.
Okay, thank you very much, Premier. Now, I just want to go back to the point we spoke about regarding the shopping arrangements for the next 3 days, Monday, April 20th to Wednesday, April 22nd. And just to clarify a terminology or wording, because I know you would have mentioned vulnerable groups. Now, we just want to ensure that everyone is clear, because persons are now asking, well, are asthmatics falling into that vulnerable group? What are the different conditions that would fall into the vulnerable group? So I just need you to go over that point again as to who can shop on Monday, April 20th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. based on the SRNO.
Thank you very much. It's an important point that you raised because we need to clarify that. If you're asthmatic and you're not having an attack, you're not vulnerable at the moment. You're vulnerable to the COVID, but not vulnerable for the day of shopping. Let me make that clear. So if you're not sick that day, then you can go out and do your shopping. So yes, vulnerable in this sense does not mean that you are vulnerable to the virus. That you are vulnerable because you may not be able to move around as freely. You might be in a wheelchair. You may need some assistance to hold your hand and carry around the older persons, for instance. So it's not that level of vulnerability. Vulnerability is basically, as I said, people with pregnancy who can't take the rush at that time. So your senior citizens, for instance, they can be considered as vulnerable. Although we spell them out as being senior citizens, they too can be vulnerable in terms of getting up and getting around as quickly as we want them to do. So it is not vulnerability in terms of being vulnerable to because you are asthmatic or you are diabetes. No, that is not the terminology we're using. The terminology here does not express that particular vulnerability at this point in time. And I hope I answer that. Yes, vulnerable, you're in a wheelchair, you're an amputee, you need assistance, you're an elderly person who can't go alone, so you need somebody to take you around. This sort of thing is what is the type of vulnerability that I'm talking about at this point in time.
Right, and just to refer persons to the schedule that would have been produced, it speaks to the senior citizens, the essential service providers, and the pregnant women.
Exactly.
Those are the categories of individuals allowed to shop on Monday, April 20th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Yes?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Premier, you would have spoken a bit there about the funds, the $2.5 million, and would have explained that what systems need to be put in place for those funds to be spent. So it stands to reason that those funds have not been used as yet for the COVID-19 response, as some persons have been, asking. As we continue, Premier, I just want you to reiterate the key points for this period going forward, particularly from Monday to Wednesday.
Okay, from Monday to Wednesday, let me just recap. We have allowed those 3 days for persons to undertake essentials, to be able to purchase essential items and to conduct money transfers, basically. So you can, in fact, purchase essential items and conduct your money transfers, maybe buy your cooking gas and fill up your vehicle, although no vehicles will be on the road after Wednesday, but you can do that. So remember that on the first session, we spoke about that already on the 20th, the seniors, essential service providers, and pregnancy persons. Then on the second schedule on Monday, it is surnames beginning with S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And those persons shop from 1 to 4 on Monday afternoon. On Tuesday morning, from 8 to 12, you have surnames beginning with M, N, O, P, Q, and R. Those persons shop on Tuesday morning from 8 to 4. On Tuesday afternoon, you have surnames beginning with G, H, I, J, K, and L. And these persons shop on Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 4. And I'm saying shopping, but you have to do your banking and your gas and everything within that period. So don't be misled because I'm saying shopping, because shopping is the most essential part of it, but you do other things within that period. And then on Wednesday morning, from 8 to 12, you also do your banking, your shopping, your gas, whatever it is, and the surnames beginning with C, D, E, and F. Wednesday morning from 8 to 12. And finally, on Wednesday afternoon, surname beginning with A and B. You shop and do your business from 1 to 4. And that is the end of that schedule. So Thursday morning, or Wednesday midnight, however you want to put it, all of these activities cease and revert to the original order and the actions that we had in it, where only essential service provider individuals will be allowed on the street. No vehicles, and unless you have a pass, you cannot and should not go on the road. The whole idea, again, is to ensure, and I know it's difficult, Fiona. I know it could be difficult, but I want to just encourage our people that it is for our own good to ensure that we keep this virus at bay, that we keep the number of cases down, that we don't infect other persons, that we consider that we are doing each other good. And so that is the main reason why we are doing this. It's not because we are spiteful in any way. It is not into you. It is for your own good that we are doing it. And I want to encourage us, just adhere to the rules and we will get out of this.
Okay, and Premier, the point about senior citizens, we want to ensure that persons are clear as to who qualifies or who is a senior citizen. What age are we speaking of from here? When you say senior citizens, from what age group are we addressing this for?
Based on the order, on the 60 and over, 60 and over, you're considered seniors. 60 and over, you're considered seniors. So from 60 to 105, 110, you are considered seniors if you can get out.
So some individuals, the senior citizens, may not have a means of getting transport in terms of the public transport. It won't be operational during that time. And is it reasonable for people to assume that someone can pick up a senior citizen and carry them to the supermarket? We
don't encourage families or members from different families to mix. What we have in place, and this is exact, they may have to go to the bank, but what we have in place, if they don't have to go to the bank, they basically just need shopping. We are suggesting that they can call in their shopping list to supermarkets. The Red Cross will pick up and deliver. We did it already, and we are continuing that service to individual households. You can call the supermarket with your listing. They, in turn, will pack your shopping. Red Cross will pick it up, take it to you, and you deliver the cash to them and they take it back. This is the best way that we can work things out with the seniors at this point in time.
Right. Premier, I'm just going back to the list of businesses that are allowed to open because, you know, we mentioned petrol stations and so forth, and some persons are wondering about cooking gas and whether or not that service will be provided through Delta. Do you have any information regarding that so you can confirm whether or not cooking gas and so forth can be purchased during the Monday to Wednesday window?
That we have not included that in the order. It's something that came up afterwards, and I'm giving some thought to it right now. I think Cabinet will have a discussion on that because there are persons who call in and say, oh, they are short on the gas, and clearly it doesn't make sense if you have food and don't have gas. It doesn't make sense. So it's something that we're looking at right now. I don't have a definite answer for that, but I think we'll have an answer for it by tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much, Premier. At this point, Premier, are there any other updates that you can provide to the public at this time, even if it's not specifically related to the new measures, but the overall government response to the COVID-19 situation on Ireland?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again to speak to us as a people. Let me be clear. The actions that we have taken as a government, they are not done willy-nilly. They are done based on the science. I've been in a number of meetings over the past 2 days, and the number of cases that Montreal has in terms of our per capita per 10,000, it is the highest. And my colleagues, just this morning in an OACS meeting, my colleagues pointed out that Montreal was in danger. Mainly because your population is small, and with the number of cases that we have, 15.25 in 10,000 is a lot of cases. When you look at countries with much larger populations, and they have 2 in 10,000, 1.5, 0.8, Montreal is really at a critical, is really in danger. And it is on this science that we have gone ahead and decided to make that decision and to continue the lockdown. And I'm not sure that some persons really understand the seriousness of the crisis that we're in, especially a Montserrat situation. A population of 5,000, or just under 5,000, one single death in this population is critical for us. We cannot allow that to happen. The patients who are suffering in the hospital this time, 2 patients, we empathize with them, and we wish them every success in terms of recovery. Those who have recovered, thank God they have recovered, and they have a story to tell. There are others we want to protect you from going through it. We have heard experiences of persons who have gone through COVID as a patient, and they have suffered long and hard. We do not want that for you, our people. And so as a result of that, we are taking these measures. And let me be clear. I will not succumb to pressure from the social media and other things to prevent me and my team from making decisions. I will not succumb to those criticisms on radio, on Facebook and other things. These are basically to distract us. And we are very focused as a government in terms of our objective. Our objective is to reduce the number of cases. As a matter of fact, I want to be able to say by the next 2 or 3 weeks that we don't have an active case on Ireland. That is our goal. It may not happen, but that is our goal. And we are hoping that at the end of whatever shutdown period we have, we'll be in a position to test almost everyone on this island to ensure that even persons who are not displaying symptoms and who may be carriers, that we can identify them and isolate them to prevent a spread. This is my government's position on the whole thing. And we will manage, based on the mandate we have received, we will manage this crisis to the best of our ability with the assistance and the advice from the health authorities. We are working with our Ministry of Health. Our Ministry of Health is working with Public Health England, and we're working with CARPA, we're working with WHO. We are getting information from everywhere. And let me be honest with you, Fiona. I think this is the right step. Because if you look at what happened in other places where decisive actions have not been taken, they're having deaths and the cases are mounting. I am pleased to report that Montserrat is in a position that we have decided to take these actions very early. And I believe that we're going to see the benefit of these actions down the road. And so I want to encourage Montserratians, our residents on Ireland, bear with us. It is in your interest that we are doing this thing. Let me say this, because we love you, we love each other, we are one, and we are in this thing together. As Montserratians, it's not you and me, it's not them and us. We are in this together. And yes, our children at home, and psychologically they might be under stress because they're inside. Yes, our seniors might be inside. You might be inside and don't have a place to go, but it won't be long. Let us just persevere, and someday we will come out of this together.
On that note, thank you very much, Premier, and we look forward to further updates from you and the entire government of Montserrat. Thank you again.